Easy people. So this is Let's Make Something Dancey Part 2. I'm going to do Part 3 soon. This one is to talk about the way you can do arrangement, which everybody's searching for. I thought I was going to do 4 versions of it, but there's no point. There's only one what anybody's keen on. So I'm going to show you the traditional way how this works by creating clip sequences. And here are the clip sequences. You bring them, you put them together there, and then you launch them manually. The idea is when the arranger comes, you launch them manually and you record the sequences. So whatever I'd be pressing would be going into the arranger. That's what's going to happen when the arranger comes. But I'm going to show you something where you've got loads of control over arrangement, and you don't need the arranger to do it. And then hopefully this should spark some ideas. As you can see, this is a sequence which is 16 bars in length. So I'm waiting till the end of this, and then I'm pressing launch. I don't have to. I could make the launch, as you probably know, by pressing shift and make it launch in like 4 bars time, or the maximum 8 bars time, or even a beat or whatever. And this would be how it is. And this is how somebody would probably use it live. So I could do like that and then say, right, I'm going to come in like this. And all this is great. Yeah. And it's a good way of kind of getting an idea of like how you'd want a tune to be. I'll not lie. It means you have to think a little, I think. But that's what people are used to, and that's how you would get something. And you could use navigate to go up and down it, and that's how that would be, and that's what we've got now. But that's not that's not an arrangement. It's just a load of clip sequences. Now, for anybody who doesn't know how to do this, I'm gonna create one here. So that's one. I'm gonna get rid of that, and I'm gonna show you how you do these, just in case you don't know. So we'll clear this by pressing delete and launch, and I'm gonna insert one in here. So let's choose some stuff. That and that. This is arbitrary. I'm just thinking, well, maybe that. What? Hey, no, good lord, no. I still don't know what to do with that. So I'll still keep it around that. Okay. And do one more. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I've got that now. Now the key to this is you press edit launch on the place where you want to insert something. So I'm going to insert it in this blank space after the last sequence. Now, as you can see here, you've got insert, which will just insert a blank thing. You've got insert 8, that'll insert 8 blank new ones. And then you can continue on there. There's clear, which will just clear it, which is the same as edit, delete. And the one we're going to use, insert capture. And what we've captured is that sequence, clip sequence, or sequence of clips. So now I've just caught that as its one thing. And this way I could keep building a load of things. So I've stopped that. I say, let me have that as a sequence, clip sequence. So then again, go there, insert capture, and I've caught it. And the thing is, I could go back and forth. I could continue them down, so it's just easy to press it down and down and down and so on and so forth. Okay, and that's what we've got now. That's kind of like on the push, and here's how you could do it. If anybody didn't know, you could use a sampler and just record that sequence, and you've got a live mix down of whatever you do. I think there's 20 minutes on here or something. I can't remember. I don't use a sampler. I think the looper is far better. The reason being is, for some reason, this doesn't have bars on it, and I like the bars. That's me personally. I'm not saying it's crap. I'm just saying me personally, I don't use that. So anyway, this is a clip sequence of events. So that's no good to us. Now, what I'm showing you is, for the thing that I'm going to show you, few important things. Number one, you got to name everything. You need to name everything because you'll get lost if you don't. Second thing is, when you do this, you only want to do this properly when you've got everything you want in that song Or put it this way, the main foundations of what you want in that song before you do an arrangement. So I'm just checking through these to see that I've just got some named twice the same thing, so I'm making sure they are. So the parts are all the same. Everything wants to be named for what I'm going to do. Another thing that I might address, I can't remember if I addressed it or not, but I'll say it now. I would advise, and I'd advise this full stop. I would advise taking off auto warp. So going in preferences and turn it off because it's janky. I don't know if we're gonna resolve that, but especially when it comes to looper, I know that somebody was looking at it on the forums and it was under review, but I just think I've noticed it does a lot of weird things. It's not that the warp's bad. It's just when you get more than a couple of things, it starts going weird. Anyway, back to what I'm saying. I've named all of these. This is just for my peace of mind. As long as you know what you're going to be recording is the sound that you know you want, then you're fine. It's just the reason why I say naming them is then you know you're not going to get any doubles because you can kind of go through them and say, yeah, is that right? What's that? Obviously that was the actual part wasn't named, but the sample is, so that's fine. As long as it's that's fine. Truthfully, I don't think it matters because when I get rid of all of these channels and I purge, it's going to get rid of anything that isn't being used. But it's a force of habit, and it's just to keep things like formal, especially because I don't like saving stuff that I'm not using into a folder. So I tend to not save anything until I'm at a point where I know I've only got the stuff I want to use. Touch wood, it's never crashed. I think I've had 2 crashes, and that was early on, like 301, and I was really, do you know what I mean? I was going ham at it. And doing things, having things play and seeing. I was actually trying to brick it on the 301 just to see. So I always, and like I say, me personally do that. Again, me personally naming this. But the things what are important is you want to make sure that you've got everything, all the parts that you want, and then put it into solo, as I've done now. And the reason why I'm putting in solo is because I'm gonna be resampling every piece. I'm doing a quick one, so you've got to create an audio channel here, and I'm naming this audio channel flattened so that I don't get it mixed up with any of the other ones. And I'm gonna color it a really defined color as well, so it's there. And I want to make sure that's a color where I know, right, that's separate. As you can see, I've launched all of these, but because they're in solo, that means I know any track, what's been affected by another track, like submixes or anything like that. I'm going to get that sound. I'm going to get the right sound that I want. Now, of course, I could probably have exported clips, but the reason why I wouldn't export clips is because, number one, it separates them into folders, which I don't like. It separates each clip into its own folder, which is meh. And the other thing is, I know the sound I'm hearing is the sound I want. Where I don't know that might flatten that sound. Maybe there's something finicky that I've done with some of the routing, and that channel is only exported and not the routing. I don't know about that. So this is why I say do it like this. Now, I do sequences in 2 and 4. This is me personally. If you're doing Eastern Mongolian music and you decide to do 3 bars or whatever, that's your choice. Personally, I'm with everything from the 60s onwards. And in Western music, it seems to be 2 and 4 bars, i.e. it's either 2 bars, 4 bars, 8 bars, 16 and 12 and all that. It's never 10 bars or 5 bars or anything like that. So that's me. So to make this quick and at the same time show you it, I've just done the drums as one piece and then I'm putting it there, I'm exporting it. Make sure that you put it to play when you're in the looper. Make sure it's on play and not overdub, because if you do overdub, it's going to go over it. So now I'll clear that. because I've exported it. If I don't, it's going to play that at the same time as doing the other one. And then I'm going to methodically go through these. So that's the next thing. I like to say drums and bass and thingy, I like to put them together. You can put them together in any way. You can record them in any sequence you like. Press record, set up, and as soon as you press play, it'll go into record. And that's it. I could let that play around. It doesn't really matter. I know it's going to just do the 4 bars because I know every change in this is 4 bars. Another thing is that seems to be true for dance music. It seems to work well on the floor. If you have things change or have something happen every 4 or 8 bars, that seems to be quite a cool thing. It makes it sound dynamic. Well, in my belief, even if it's subtle bills or something, over 4 or 8 bars each time. So I'm going through this. Like I say, you do this prep. This is similar to like what I was saying about making sure all samples in key. You do the prep, and then that means everything will work together, and you don't have to do it. You only have to do it once. As I was stating before, this arrangement, the plus and minus of this arrangement is obviously MIDI's getting flattened out into audio, so it's like just a sample. So that's why I'm saying you want to make sure you've got all your pieces and then do it. You can continue, as you'll probably see, you could kind of continue if you know that there's several elements that you want. You could just have them flattened and then you could get more MIDI on it. The choice is yours because you can play over the top of this and whatever, but you'll have an arrangement, and this is what is the most important thing. And the best thing about this is the level of control on this arrangement is a major. The obviously it's clip pieces, so it's like it basically is like Ableton Live in the fact that you've got like the session view, but they're all just little pieces of audio, kind of. If you see, you'll see what I mean anyway. Please like and subscribe because that helps me, because there's things I like to show, but I don't really have a lot of time, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just learning as I'm teaching you. So when people like and subscribe, it helps me. It gives me confidence to say, yeah, let me try some more, maybe add this, and maybe even add graphics, because I wanted to, initially I was going to have it say, arrange, and then do some graphics, but like, I've got to go out in a bit, and I want to get this down and see if I can get this up today before a chip, because I know people are waiting, and I really appreciate everybody who has subscribed and watches my videos. So, like I say, I'm going through this, each one. So you can imagine, if I had loads of parts, I have to do this on all the parts. But I only have to do it once. And as soon as it's done, you're good. So kind of see it as some kind of therapeutic thing, yeah. Oh, that's a nice tune. Maybe you listen to a tune and go, all right, I like what I did there, or that's a nice instrument. Oh, does it work? That work? Yeah. But you'll have all of these elements. So is that it? Have I got them all? I'm clear. Don't forget, always make sure you clear it. And you, like I say, you could. Oh, the other thing as well that I'm stating, and I realised is I kept in that sampler. Because if you move out of if you move out of the looper and come back in, you have to put it back to resample. But if I was already in there, it's already in resample. So I've got everything. I think that's everything. Now I came back out of there, I have to go back to resample. But if I was in there already, then I don't have to do it. It's already set up. So as long as you named everything, you know all your parts, oh, you just know where everything is, then do you know what I mean? You just go keep in looper and record everything. I say as well, just have one flattened track and just have them all going down. Just keep going down. Don't. I know that you might think, oh well, wouldn't it be better to have it in like one section here and one section there? Not really, because you're only using the flattened as like a kind of placeholder. So that's just going to hold everything until you've got all your parts for your song. I'm going to say this again, but I'll say it now. When you've done all of this, whatever you do, do not save, because you'll be saving this project to that. You want to do a project at save as, because like you say, you'll be saving it all to that. And especially with what I do next, because I'm going to delete all of the information, all of that, the tune what I've created. I'm deleting all of that because I don't need any of it. So if I had saved that as project and not project as, I would have lost everything. Also, I'm just showing you, if you need more roles, edit, launch, insert roles, and that's it. Okay. So I've got rid of all of that stuff now. Like I said, I'm saying it now. Whatever you do, don't press project, because it'll just save over it and you've just lost your song. So save as project as. Somebody might be asking, well, why don't I save it as a track? For some reason, it might be my mind is faulty, but somebody else has said it. There seems to be a bug on tracks, because when you save the track, sometimes the information doesn't come back. It's there. The clip information's there, but it's not loading it. I don't know what's wrong with that. Hopefully they've resolved that. I've tried it on 3 or 4 normal. I've tried it on the betas as well. So it seems to be an inherent bug. I don't know if it's a bug that's built up over time. Hopefully they'll fix that. But anyway, back to what we're doing. Now I've got all the stuff flattened, and I'm going to go and look in here, right? And all of this is the tracks and the information that I've deleted. I don't need it anymore. So it didn't really matter if I named it or not, but I do. In all honesty, probably could have not named them, but you should, because you want to make sure everything you clear is purged here, and then all I'd have is everything what's flattened. I could have named them as I went along, but then it'd be longer. And like I say, I'm trying to do all of this in real time so that you know this is how it's working. So what's the next thing? I create a drum program, and this is where the magic comes. You create a drum program, and the Akai drum program is the best thing I think I've ever come across. It's ace. Check out Tube Digger's channel, because he's got a great breakdown on the drum program and how to use it. So now why have I done that? Because now all of those flattened pieces are going to be drum pads. They're going to be pads in this sequence. So I keep stopping that. If you don't want to have things playing, just use the select. Keep your finger on select and then tap them, and then you don't activate them. What I decided to do here was just copy, like, I thought it was 10, but it's actually 8. But anyway, and then all I have to do is twist through them. The reason why I copied is a false habit, because what you can do if you're doing, I think it was, I looked on some guy online. He was wondering how come he couldn't get pads in the drum sequence to just go to the drum. In the drum program, he couldn't work out how he couldn't get stuff into the drum program. And what it is you have to create a drum program first. Unlike an MPC where a thing exists and you just choose it, you have to actually create one, because it's the channel what you're in, and then it's what's going on that channel. So a force of habit is a quick way of getting like chops into a drum program. If you don't want to do the slice thing, it is to create a drum program, and then you can copy one bit and use that as sequences. But I'm going to show that on another thing. Anyway, back to this. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go through this and name stuff just in case. And if I'm not quite sure what it is, if I press chop and press play cue, that'll play the sound. So I'm going through and I'm naming this, and this is important here. Before, like I said before, naming the stuff you're going to be flattening is just for your peace of mind, so you know that when you're flattening stuff, you know what you're flattening. Here, you definitely have to name things. It's really important that you name things, because what you can end up with is you can end up, especially if you've got a main body, there's 64 pads here. So you can have a load of sequences together. You could have layers, you could have pads played by other pads. There's lots of ways you could do it. An easy way, I think, would probably be to do layers. So if you said, well, I want to have a bunch of these sounds, you could have 4 sounds layered together. You could have 2, and then you could have 4 layered together. And then you could say, when you press that, it activates another set of pads. So you could have 4 layers together in one pad and then have them activate another one. So you've got 8 sounds playing at once. The sky's the limit. So I've got all of these now, and I'm just checking through them. I've deleted them. And I'm going to take a pause after this just to show you, if you don't want them activated, press select and you can go through them. And yeah, I'm going to take a little break here now that we've got all this. And don't forget, you've got all of these parts, because it's, like I said, this is quick what I'm trying to show you, but I'm showing you in real time. I'm going to try and show you the other one in real time. Like I say, you've got the mixer. You've got all of that submixer, what we're going to get to after this. But I'm going to take a little break, like and subscribe, and I'm going to catch you for part 3. And don't forget, I'm going to delete that flatten channel now because I only need the drum program. Peace.